So, my case here that I chose to do was Obergefell v. Hodges. It used the 14th Amendment in its ruling, and it was just decided in 2015, so pretty recently. So, a quick overview of the case. So, in 2015, Obergefell v. Hodges was a civil rights case that was working towards legalizing same sex marriage. Right before the case was underway, several states had already started to lift this ban, but it was still a serious issue nationwide, and people in same sex relationships were still subjected to public shame and ridicule. There was 13 states that the bans on same-sex marriage were still in place, and Obergefell was working towards all bans being lifted in a world where same-sex marriage was accepted. So I'm gonna move my camera so you guys can see. So this is what happened before the case. So Jim Obergefell was in a same-sex marriage with his husband, and he had passed away, and he was unable to put his name on his late husband's death certificate, and he felt like this was him being subjected just because of who he's married to, and that it violated the equal protection law under the 14th Amendment. So he led the plaintiffs in this case. So the ruling of the case. On June 26th in 2015, in a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled that the ban on same-sex marriage was unconstitutional under the Due Process and Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Okay, sorry for moving my camera around. I just want you guys to be able to see everything. So, what is the 14th Amendment and its influence on the decision in this specific case? So, the 14th Amendment granted all citizens equal protection under the law, and that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property. So, in this case, they decided that marriage was a fundamental right to anyone and therefore should be protected under the law. And there's a liberty for all people in the United States to choose who they want to marry. So, when this ruling was decided, there was some opposing views that happened. So people believe that when this ban is lifted, that it's altering the definition of what traditional marriage is, and the majority did not agree with that, and it did not weigh into this case. Justice Anthony Kennedy was the one who spoke on behalf of the majority, and their point was that same-sex marriage would be something that would strengthen what marriage means. It would never be something that weakened the definition of marriage. So I'm going to share a quote with you all here in a few seconds that really brings this case to life, and you can see how important that this case really is to a lot of people, and you can also see how the 14th Amendment was crucial in this case. So this is the quote here, and I'll read it. He said, "It would misunderstand these men and women to say that they disrespect the idea of marriage. Their plea is that they do respect it so deeply that they seek to find its fulfillment for themselves. Their hope is not to be condemned to live in loneliness, excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them this right." So I think this really shows how people in these underrepresented groups, they're never trying to disrespect the law or change the law. They just want to be protected under this law just like everyone else. And time again, it shows that this law and the laws in America don't protect everybody. And this is one of those cases here. So how the case changed today's society. So I think as we're getting older, we're in college, and this is a fairly new case. We've definitely seen this community getting the bravery to speak up. So they felt like they've had to hide themselves for so long, and the Supreme Court's ruling made them community feel like for the first time that people are supporting them and that they're protected by the law, just like heterosexual couples were to celebrate their love and marriage. And that's all. Thank you.